Hello and welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Carrie Oderman with UATV. Today we're talking about the project called Best Buddies Ukraine. It is a project that creates opportunities for one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, and inclusive living for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. To talk more about this project, we're joined today in the studio by Tetiana Mykhailenko, Executive Director of Best Buddies Ukraine. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
As I was preparing for this, I said that I looked at your Facebook page and you told me this is relatively new to Ukraine, your organization. Give us some background.
Yeah, it is very new. We've just started. Actually, it's on Saturday when we had the open house and the first matching ceremony for our first Best Buddies pairs here in Ukraine. But the background... for the Best Buddies International, that's at the moment the biggest organization in the world that dedicates all the activities to ending the social, physical and economic isolation of people with intellectual and developmental disability. As we've just talked, you know that socializing for people with intellectual disabilities and development is a big question. So that's how the idea came, and the history is very interesting. Have you ever heard about Special Olympics?
Yes.
Yeah. So Special Olympics were founded by Eunice Kennedy Shriver, a sister of President J.F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And the founder of Best Buddies is her son.
Okay.
Yes, so it goes back to this family because Anthony Shriver, who started the Best Buddy when he was a student, and it's exactly 30 years ago when the first Best Buddies chapter was registered, when the Best Buddies started. Because as he grew, because of his mom's activities, he always had friends with intellectual disabilities who played in their house. He attended Special Olympics events. And when he started the university, he saw that his friends left behind, all of them. So he had the thought of connecting his friends from university with his friends from his childhood, and form this buddy pairs. And that's how it started.
And now it's an international organization.
And now it's huge. It's 54 countries, 6 continents, and it's over almost 130,000 participants now in this program. And it's still expanding.
And when you talk about participants, are you talking about buddy pairs?
Buddy pairs, but there are also those who, besides from buddy pairs, there are people who are in the leadership program. Usually they are coming from pairs, but could be different, and they are trained to be ambassadors. They are people with intellectual disabilities trained to be self-advocates. They can talk for themselves.
Now, part of the thought behind Best Buddies is bringing people with these intellectual disabilities out of isolation. But there's another side to this. How is by bringing people with intellectual disabilities out of isolation helping society?
Yeah, that's the idea, and the very core that it's very equal communication. It's not like people without IDD mentoring or helping or protecting. No, that's just buddies. That's friendship. That means that I learn from my buddy learns from me, and the whole society learns from our friendship.
Now, what took Ukraine so long to catch up? You've been involved in this field for the past 10 years, but...
Yeah, it's because, you should know, you should go out and search for things. As it happened, because my youngest son has Down syndrome, So when he turned 13, when he became officially a teenager, I realized that because my children are adults, they have their own families, they live separately, and I realized he doesn't have any true teenage life. So he needs to have all this thing that other teenagers have. I've started looking for the ways. And I've heard about Best Buddies before, but because there were other things more important so I've been doing different early developmental center that we opened here, all these things. And then that's how I connected with the Best Buddies, and we started discussing, and it's appeared they were looking for the country director at that time. And so we came together, we decided that we start, and thanks to Бачите серцем, that's an organization that works with people with disability here, that they agreed to sign this pilot agreement. And on Saturday we had our first open house and our first matching ceremonies.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, so that it means that we have first 8 pairs of buddies from Saturday. So we'll see how it develops. We have lots of hopes.
So what did they do on Saturday?
We invited those who volunteers, both with and without intellectual disabilities, and we had some training explaining how it works, what we expect from them, what are their commitments, because they signed some. They are committed to try it for a year to see how it works. And so there are some criteria that we use to help, to find your body, like your interest, gender, age, place where you live, because then it's easier to, to meet, to get together. Sometimes it's socio-economic status, which helps to have a equal pair of bodies. And then, so these pairs now, they are communicating once a week. They meet, they get together twice a month, and once in 3 months, so it's every season, let's say, we will have some group event where we gather all together and do some fun activities, do something that feels good.
Now, I know you're just starting. Did you purposely start with a small group? Is there a waiting list? Are there more people interested?
It will. We've just started, and under this pilot agreement, we start with one chapter with the small amount, so that we learn the ropes, and that it's obvious that we know what to do, how to do. But as far as I can tell you now, I think we'll move really fast, because we already have some requests from other cities, and that means we have to spread, and from younger children, because we started with, there are different programs like middle school, high school, university or colleges, and citizen program. We started with the citizen program, but we really are intended to go to schools, because they're everything in the Best Buddy programs, they build kind of in lifespan order. So you start as a Best Buddy at school, and then you move to the university, and then it means that a person who is in this friendship expands his social abilities. Then the leadership program comes, the leadership development, where people are learned how to give public speeches, how to be a self-advocate, whether it's in your family, at school, in society at whole. So they get those skills, which help them then to get the job. Their integrated employment came into the picture. And the new program, the newest program that's just been piloting in LA, it's inclusive living, where people with IDD and without IDD live together near the campus, in the same house, sharing everything. So meaning independent, true adult life, which is very important.
Fascinating.
It's fascinating, and I'm very thrilled, frightened a bit, because everything is so new here. The very concept is new here. Because when we started communicating with people, even parents of youngsters with disabilities, were asking, do you think it's possible? Do you think we can do it? Do you think there are people who would volunteer? I said, yes, there are those people already.
Well, thank you for joining us today and telling us about the Best Buddies program, which is making Ukraine a better place for people with disabilities, one buddy at a time.
It actually makes Ukraine better for everyone, to tell you the truth.
That's a good point.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, glad to be here.
That was Tetiana Mykhailenko, Executive Director of Best Buddies Ukraine. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned with UATV.